He might actually be the most derivative one of all. I mean, Christ, the same house.
Maybe so. But you forgot the first rule of surviving a stab movie. Never answer the...
I'm bored.
Wait!
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking You're a Jerk-Off, so jerk off. We're talking Female Hyenas Have Their Own Mock Penis. And we're talking That Chick Spreads Like Peanut Butter. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking The Profile Doesn't Fit the Profile.
And this case is closed. Closed.
Like, Joe, every trailer, every TV spot for this movie had Sandra Bullock screaming, "The profile doesn't fit the profile." And so when I finally heard it in this rewatch, I was like, it was like I was transported back 21 years to 2002.
Oh, delightful. Yes, good old Sandy B trying desperately to prove she's not just a rom-com queen. She's whatever this is.
Yes, and what this is, everyone, is Barbet Schroeder's He of Single White Female fame. Murder by Numbers. The kind of a Leopold. I mean, it is. It's Leopold and Loeb. We're doing it again. So if y'all don't know what that is or who those people are, go listen to our episode on Alfred Hitchcock's Rope.
Indeed. Or our episode on Scream, because it's based on the same idea.
Yeah, that's more loosely based. Although there's actually, this is I want to say the fourth, more straightforward adaptation of the property. Oh my god, the real life events.
See also Compulsion and Swoon.
Yes, that's it. But before we get too deep into this, because it already sounds like we're pretty passionate about this, Joe, let's bring in our two guests who are waiting in the wings. And everyone, they are the hosts of Kill by Kill, a podcast in which they unpack all the gory details of horror cinema's least discussed topics, the characters, as well as room decorations and lawn adornments. You may also remember them from our episodes on The Quiet, Witchboard, and Batman and Robin. Please welcome back Patrick Hamilton and Gena Radcliffe.
Hello.
Ooh. Greetings and salutations, Horror Queer Nation.
So tell us, Murder by Numbers, welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the first rewatch. I did see this in theaters, and I was less high this time, but I did miss a lot the first watch, mainly having to do with what Ryan Gosling is wearing, which we have to discuss.
I can't wait to discuss Baby Sex Worker.
An emphasis on the baby. He is a fetus in this.
So young.
Yeah,
So young.
I had to look it up because I was like, how close to Breaker High is this? And I don't know if Breaker High was an American thing at all.
No.
But it was basically high school students who went to high school on a luxury cruise liner. So every episode was them like getting off the boat and going and having sexy misadventures, but then also having to learn high school shit. And he's the only person who made it out of that one season wonder alive.
Oh, one season. Well, I was like, high school on a boat? That honestly, anything on a boat automatically makes it better.
Yeah, it was very like Canadian Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, boy.
Which makes sense because he was also on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Sure.
Yeah. But that was 97, 98. So, he was practically grown by now. He was on the cusp of The Notebook.
Oh, God.
Did he have the same haircut in Breaker High than he has here? Because there seems to be a fascination by somebody on the production side that they need to make his head rounder. Like, he needs to be a teen Peanuts character. And his head does not work round. His head is a nice, sexy rectangle. And when you add curves to it, it doesn't fucking work as well.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I realized I misspoke. Tyler Labine was also in Breaker High.
Oh!
So I guess he had the rounder, spikier anime hair, and Ryan Gosling was just like a nerd.
Of course.
He was a nerd.
Sure. Absolutely.
Oh my god, he's so unattractive. Just what is the male version of glasses and a ponytail? Glasses and whatever this is?
Basically. Whatever Michael Pitt is doing in this movie.
Oh, speaking of hair, by the way, Jesus fucking Christ.
Rarely do you see men with curtain bangs.
I was going to say, he's got that hair flap. Love the hair flap.
But I kind of feel like Michael Pitt just looks the same all the time.
He does. Right. Like, this is around the same time that he did Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yes.
And so basically, the main difference is he's like wearing eye makeup and leather pants in that. But other than that, he looks exactly the same and has like the same kind of like persona, like very awkward and I'm sexy, but I'm going to pretend that I don't know I'm sexy.
Yeah, sexy baby.
Yeah, sexy baby. Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like, like no shade in any shape, way, or form to Michael Pitt. There's just something about him that I find so incredibly off-putting that it just kind of he creeps me out, which makes sense as to why he keeps getting these types of roles.
I get that, and it doesn't help that in real life he's apparently gone off the rails pretty badly at some point. So,
fun.
Yeah, he had an episode during the pandemic, and
I mean, whomst among us?
I will just elaborate. In July of 2022, so it wasn't even really during the pandemic. I mean, it was still during it, but it wasn't at like the height of it. Right. He was arrested and charged with assault and petty larceny after allegedly hitting another man multiple times and taking his phone. Then in September of that same year, he was hospitalized and deemed emotionally disturbed after being accused of throwing items at people from the rooftop of a building.
Ooh.
So,
I mean, I hope he has found some kind of medical help.
Absolutely. But speaking of all of that, this is the third entry in our Toxic Masculinity Month.
Yes. Folks, this is the soft entry. We thought we would hit you real hard with the first two entries, and we might hit you hard again with the last one, but this is the soft one.
Which is really surprising because, and I'll kind of go into more detail about this like when I'm doing my production history, but a lot of like the interviews and reviews I've had at the time were talking about how, this film has really dark subject matter. And I was like, it does, but it's not... Like, I don't think this is a very graphic film.
No, and there's so many routes they could have taken that would have made it darker, and then they just kind of went with a very basic late 90s, early 2000s murder mystery.
Well,
yes.
Where the twist on it is, well, there's some homoeroticism.
Courtesy of Leopold and Loeb.
Yes. I don't know. I think this is such a fascinating time capsule because in some ways this feels so early 2000s because it's giving off late 90s vibes. But I was thinking, we were doing these kinds of movies. Like we had Angelina Jolie in The Bone Collector. We had Kiss the Girls with Ashley Judd. We were anticipating the harder anti-heroine note that we were anticipating with the second season of True Detective, which you can kind of see this like, hard drinking cop who is also really fucking good at her job, but emotionally she's a giant nightmare. Actually,
I'm really glad you brought up like Kiss the Girls and Bone Collector stuff like that, because this does feel like a relic of those late 90s like female driven thrillers, like where they wanted the cop. But this is also the time where those are kind of like going out of vogue. Like we haven't gotten quite to 2004's Twisted, like Ashley Judd's last round in that subgenre of films, but we're definitely heading there. But when I was watching this, I think ultimately my disappointment, outside of the script issues, because I do think there are two interesting movies here that are at war with each other, and therefore neither one of them winds up being particularly thrilling or good. But I don't think Schroeder... I don't think it's shot very well. Like, this is very blandly shot, and it's kind of
boring. Yeah, well, visually boring.
But it's interesting to read them talk about it at the time because they really thought they were doing something along the lines of Hitchcock's Rope. A lot of like people involved with the movie, not critics or people that saw it, but people involved with the movie kept saying, yeah, it's very Hitchcocky and the camera angles are all wild and stuff. And I was like, what? What camera angles?
Yeah, it's like, are they though?
Or is it that we're super, super jaded now because we've seen the progression of actual envelope pushing that, comes in the wake of something like this? I think that was one of the things I struggled with was this novel at the time and we're now just jaded, or is it like, no, they were high on their own supply?
Yeah,
it's not like it's in the cut. Like in the cut is pushing.
Oh my God, in the cut.
Yeah.
Like, this is not.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I didn't see this in the theater, but I do remember when it came out. I don't remember anybody making a big deal out of its edginess or anything like that. It just kind of made a brief little, poof
it went
on the, it didn't really do much either way.
In ways, and this is going to sound like worse than I actually mean it, but like this honestly feels sometimes like a high budget TV movie.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
You could imagine Lifetime putting this out very easily.
It's glossy, it's warm tones. It's very brown.
Yeah, they tastefully cut away during the sex scenes.
Oh, thank heavens.
God. Well, wait, actually, I have a question. Before I really get into this, though, I have a question for y'all. If you don't know already, what is the budget for this film?
Oh, I had to look it up and I was shocked.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to 2 sources, and the rest of that is just filming on location. But there are 2 big sources of where that money's going.
Sandra Bullock being one of them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the other one?
I think it is to get Barbet Schroeder on.
Interesting.
Okay. Even though he is a journeyman, but he's coming back into thrillers here, and regardless of my feelings of like Kiss of Death, which there's no amount of bench pressing hot chicks that makes that film worthwhile. and Desperate Measures is truly is even more inessential than this.
Okay.
But like Reversal of Fortune and Single White Female are fucking great movies. And I feel like at this time, they're like, all he needs is like a subject matter and a star to really make this sing. And you put him together with Sandra Bullock and you got a stew going, baby. And then you're like, wah, wah.
Well, it's interesting because I in my research, I came across Eliza Schwarzbond's review from Entertainment Weekly back in the day. And she was like, it's interesting. She says exactly what I said. There's 2 different films here, and it's very clear which one it's very clear which one Schroeder finds much more interesting, and it's the stuff with the 2 boys. Unfortunately, Bullock, who's doing the best she can with this role, has the least interesting backstory subplot imaginable.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, it's like they keep, they pull their punches and everything at the last minute. Like, they want you to think that Sandra Bullock, she's so fucked up, man. She's so fucked up from this abusive relationship she was in. But it's Sandra Bullock, and it's really hard to dislike her. And she sort of feels like this, very much feels like a put on, this, tough gal who, she doesn't want a long-term relationship. She just wants to work her way through her male coworkers. And she doesn't know what to make of this partner who, doesn't want to fuck. He wants to make love. And, she doesn't know how to handle that. And then you've got but you don't buy it from her because, she's Sandra Bullock. She's sweet. And she's funny.
I do buy it from her, actually. I think what's the least interesting part about her is just this backstory that the film seems to think we don't predict from minute 1, and it teases out the reveals throughout this movie's entire 2-hour-long runtime.
Yes. Not exactly. We reveal that she is the woman in the sepia-toned flashbacks at minute 50.
Sure, but then we're still
dealing with it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we got to deal with it, but the problem is that we can't I wish this movie was just about her and or just about the case.
Right. And as far as pulling punches, you've got all this, you can't even call it undertones happening between the 2 boys. They're very much overtones. But you've got this, the scene where Ryan Gosling's character Richard is upset that is it Justin is the other boy? Is had a date with this girl, and it's not that he's jealous because he wants the girls, because he wants Justin. But, it's like, if this movie was made now, they at least would have smooched or something,
There's so many opportunities where you just say, just fucking kiss. Right. You don't have to murder, kill.
He's
you can
literally
just kiss.
Has him up against a wall and just kind of, looking him up and down like, a ham sandwich. And it's like, and then he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, oh, come on, just do it.
But we didn't do it in 2002. You're 100% right. If we made this movie 20 years, 10 years even, I think we would have had even just a kiss.
So watching it now, it's like, oh, that's kind of cute. These boys trying to pretend they're not hot for each other.
They're affluent white boys.
Yeah, how could they possibly deviate from the norm? They have to just murder somebody randomly. That's the only explanation for it.
They just had to aggressively murder people with their bare hands to work out this this strange tension. They don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. All right. So we're diving all the way into this already. But let me tell you, I don't have like a ton of how this came to be, but I will say that most of my information comes from 2 interviews with Sandra Bullock the week of release. And they're both, press interviews, so it's kind of cookie cutter shit. But
Right.
There's not really any information about this movie anywhere else because there's not a Blu-ray of this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It's wild. We're lucky it's on streaming because if not, it would probably be hard to find.
I mean, there is a DVD, but yeah, it's like, how hasn't Warner Archives put this out already?
Is the demand there?
Well, you know what? We're going to change that right now, Patrick.
We're really selling it, and I bet everyone's want to get on board
whoever's
now.
left on Twitter, you do hashtag murder by numbers blue.
Well, that's. I think at the end of the day, like I wound up giving this 3 stars out of 5. I'm probably leaning more 2.5 because at the end of the day, I think this movie is mostly just a big shrug. It's not. I almost wish it were aggressively bad, so it would be more entertaining to watch.
Right? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The movie needs more baboon attacks, and then you're really working with something.
Oh my god, that baboon, and it never comes back.
It just bites her. It's like, well, hey, there's a baboon in this storage bin.
The baboon gets a taste of our lead actress, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could not be anyone hotter than her in this pocket, and yet it gets one taste, and it's like, you know what? I can tell. That's all you needed. You just needed the one bite. I'm going to be over here.
Well, she's been drinking so much, the blood alcohol was probably off the charts. All of that domestic beer.
They needed to make her look more like an alcoholic in this movie.
You taste like Sheryl Crow sounds, and then it just runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so yeah, this is all from interviews with Bullock. Also, she just, for anyone who maybe wasn't in like movie world in 2002, Sandra Bullock was huge at this. I mean, she was already huge in the late 90s, but like she's still like, trucking along. So she was really busy during this time. So while she was doing the press stuff for this movie, she was in New York filming 2 Weeks Notice with Hugh Grant, that rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as that wrapped, she just started a press tour for The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, which, like this movie, also received middling reviews, but did much better at the box office.
But it was a huge book,
Yeah.
and could not have been a bigger property with the potential of being, something that was huge.
Yeah. Well, and then 2 Weeks Notice comes out and Christmas. So we've got this, Yaya Sisterhood, and 2 Weeks Notice is like all in 2002 for the year of Bullock.
That's a lot
good
of
year.
Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would argue that all of these movies are middling, but...
Sure.
Interestingly enough, though, Sandra Bullock did not seek out Murder by Numbers. The studio, Castle Rock, sent it to her. And this was the second of 3 films in a row that she had done with Castle Rock. The other 2 being Miss Congeniality and, of course, the upcoming 2 Weeks Notice. But in these interviews, I noticed that we, again, have this debate that's kind of adjacent to the horror versus thriller, because people were asking her a lot, why were you doing this movie? Why aren't you doing another rom-com? And I'm kind of like... I mean, she did thrillers a lot before she started doing rom-coms, I feel like. She's got Speed, she's got The Net. What else was in the 90s? It was like a thriller. Forces of Nature.
Oh, boy.
That's a horror movie.
I mean, Ben Affleck is, yeah.
I saw that in theaters, and I was probably 10 when that came out, and I was so fucking bored.
And then it ends with like one of the few rom-coms in history to not have the couple get together. People were pissed.
Oh, I was pissed. But anyway, but people are asking, why are you doing this? And she's like, Castle Rock handed me this script. I didn't seek it out. But what attracted me to it was that it was more of a psychological thriller. It wasn't an action thriller, not something that has those more exciting tools to propel the story, but something that was truly an unwinding of the mind, which she apparently finds so much more thrilling. And I get it, and I think that might have played better on paper than the execution we get.
Yeah, I'm wondering in the hands of somebody with a bit more visual flair if this movie could have come alive in a different way.
Well, she says, she's like, Murder by Numbers goes back to the Hitchcock era. It's old filmmaking where you rely on a camera move, or what's not said, to instill fear or tension. And Castle Rock has always been dynamic like that. And so they knew she was looking for it. And they were like, hey, we have this script. It's different from what you normally play. We think you'll like it. They found out that Barbet Schroeder, he of, again, single white female fame, had read the script and liked it. So they met. They were like, oh my God, match made in heaven, done deal. And she even comes on as executive producer, a title she had only held once before on 1998's Hope Floats.
Ooh. That was a big bomb.
It does not speak volumes for her producing credit career.
She was a producer on Miss Congeniality as well, just not an executive producer.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, that's a redemption there.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I've never seen Hope Floats. My husband loves that movie. And since we met 13 years ago, he has been trying to get me to watch Hope Floats.
Oh, there you go. You should watch it and report back.
I will one day. I'm sure it's fine. It's just like, I've just never been interested, but
sure.
I digress. The script was written by Tony Gayton, who was a relative newcomer at the time, but had another film, the neo-noir The Salton Sea, come out this exact same year. He hasn't written a lot of films since, but he would go on to create the AMC series Hell on Wheels. I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, that's the Western.
Yeah, but I didn't know that the female lead in it is Lola from The Loved Ones.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Or at least she's in it. Like, she's in like 50 episodes of the 56.
Okay. I mean, that's
that
sizable.
made 56 episodes. Good for Hell on Wheels.
Yeah.
And it's AMC, so it's probably like 10 episode seasons.
Yeah.
But one of the key elements of the script, of course, is that Bullock's character, Detective Cassie Mayweather, always started as a female. So I think someone could watch this and be like, wow, it sounds like this was a man that they just said, hey, we're going to cast a female in this role. And that wasn't the case.
Okay.
Most of what was in the original script did end up on screen, but Bullock says her character was written 75% to 80% of the way she is in the film until they started researching battered women syndrome. Bullock admits that this was really hard to digest, but the research that they did, and including talking to people, psychologists, survivors, things like that, they fleshed out her character a bit more. Arguably made her somewhat more difficult to like, even though I'd argue that she is an empathetic character, but that might just be the Sandra Bullock of it all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not sure if she was without, despite that she does give a good performance, I'm not sure she was the right actor for this part.
I also feel like the dynamic of her unpleasantness is not interesting. It is simply rote. There's a complex thing that they try to get across of her underplaying things or really fronting her the attitude that she doesn't find other people's ideas worth much. Mm-hmm. And she kind of comes off like Dennis Miller without the College for Dummies references.
Well, I think, and I know some people are like, oh, like, show versus tell, whatever, but I think we needed to see her doing some really shady shit.
Yes.
Yeah, if this had been made later, I actually think they would have leaned into her unlikability. I think this is this is light, right? As Gina said, I think this is a pretty soft representation of an unlikable female protagonist who's got some hard, quote unquote, edges to her. But I think if we were seeing this later, they would have actually leaned into it. But here she just comes off as kind of difficult and a little narcissistic.
Yeah, well, they one I think it was like the DA or something says to Ben Chaplin's character, "Oh, why do you think she never has any? She never keeps her partners?" And makes it sound like, and really make it sound like oh well, she never keeps her partners because she sleeps with them. And it's like, okay, I don't think most men are going to quit working with someone that he has slept with. But I mean, I guess it's supposed to be because she's nasty, and as soon as she sleeps with you, she starts treating you badly afterwards. But they don't really put that across. The only thing they keep emphasizing is, well, she sleeps around with the men that she works with. So it's like, big deal. Who cares?
Admittedly, I don't work in the police force or in any form of law enforcement. But is it common practice for people to fuck their partners and not get transferred out of the district, or like get a new job, or get fired, or have any kind of repercussions whatsoever?
I mean, I don't think they get fired. Maybe they. I have to assume it happens, on occasion.
Where is the HR attendant in this movie?
Oh, they don't have one in this small town.
No, they've
Absolutely
got
not.
a DA, they've got a captain, and they've got 2 cops, and
Yeah.
then a whole bunch of forensic analysis, apparently.
I mean, there's literally almost no difference outside of the fact that this other film I'm going to reference is more dynamic.
Mhm.
But it does feel like someone ordered up a Sandra Bullock movie, but they're like, get me one of those Bruce Willis and Striking Distance types of movies and put Bullock in there. Because, like, she's a drunk, she's got a past hinge with violence, she's not that great at giving foot jobs, she lives on a houseboat. It's perfect. It's exactly what Bruce Willis is in Striking Distance, including sleeping with your fucking partner. It's the exact same fucking movie.
I can't help but think, though, and I say this feels like a big budget TV movie, is because this would have been at the height, well, maybe the height, but like really high popularity for CSI, which would have premiered 2 years before this came out.
Right.
And I see a lot of that show like in this movie. And when you read these interviews, they're talking about the forensic stuff, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's old news. But I guess maybe in 2002, like it was just
hot.
It was so popular at the time.
It is very hot at the time. There's close-ups of people dusting for prints and using UV rays. And
that extreme close-up over the body as we're finding the threads.
I was oh my God, CSI. I have expected David Caruso to come out and be like, there's been a murder.
Sunglasses on, everybody. We found a body.
Well, so what was also going on at the time, though, were conversations about violence in the media. So it's important to note that while Murder by Numbers was released just 3 years, almost to the day after the Columbine shootings, it was less than a year after the September 11th attacks. So a lot of articles and interviews I found from 2002 discussed the graphic nature of the film, including asking Bullock if the studio pressured the production to ease up on any of the more disturbing content, to which Bullock said, no. Also, they suggested we do more, which I would agree with.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it's like it could have used a little more juice.
Yeah.
But the entertainment industry at this time had come under fire for producing films, video games, and TV shows that glorified violence. Some parent groups and legislators had even gone so far as to say that the media inspired some young audience members to commit acts of savagery, as was the case with the Columbine shootings.
Get fucked.
So, okay, this is kind of it's a quote from Bullock, but when asked about her thoughts about how this film relates to that, Bullock said, "You can dissect this and wonder what soapbox we are getting on, but it's essentially about something that's been going on for thousands of years, but now is very topical because of things like Columbine, even though we initially based this film on Leopold and Loeb. I think we have a tendency to skirt the issue and whitewash things and sweep them under the carpet. You need to put a face, a human being with feelings and complexities, and I think once you have that, it becomes far more disturbing where you can't ignore it, where you really need to look at what's making this happen. Is it the media? Is it video games? Is it the upbringing? Is it school? What is the cause?" So I think that is something about the film that is very topical and not glorified, which I loved. She also thinks there's some social messaging in the film, specifically with spousal abuse, which also drew her to the project. And I would argue those things are here. They're just not really developed enough.
No, because as you say, there's two different movies happening here.
I do love that quote, though, because if you take out the idea that she's talking about violence and put in that she's talking about queerness, it's like we're talking about something that's been here forever, but now we're only starting to explore it. This is really avant-garde. It's like, yeah, we get that.
Well, filming took place from February through May of 2001. So we're shooting before 9/11, and I have to believe this might have been delayed in the wake of 9/11, but maybe not. But the production seemed relatively chill. But to lighten the atmosphere amidst the film's darker material, and I wanted to bring this up, not because it's super pertinent, but because I feel like we've already shat on Bullock a bit, and I don't want anyone to think that we don't like Sandra Bullock. I adore Sandra Bullock. This movie is just not
she's
the
great.
best use of her talents. But she's kind of awesome. So she had barbecue flown in from Texas and hired massage therapists and acupuncturists to work on the cast and crew. And this is something I didn't know about her, but it made me respect her a lot more than I already do. But she started offering the perks to her crew when all she could afford were Starbucks runs in the early 90s, noting, "Actors get such ridiculous perks that you might as well make some of those perks benefit everybody." She goes on to say, "If you take care of your crew, they will go the extra hour. They will make the shot work. They come up with some of the best ideas if you go, hey, this isn't working. What's not working? If you give them these perks and everyone's in a good mood, they'll do this stuff for you."
I mean, it makes sense.
Yes. So is this a glib time for me to talk about how she was giving extra perks to one of her co-stars?
Joe, you read my mind. I was going to say the funnest bit of trivia of all is this is where the movie where she met and started dating for a while a fetal Ryan Gosling.
It's okay. Wait, what is their age difference?
It's a 16-year age difference. He was 21. She was 37.
I don't remember this.
Oh, I do. They dated for a little while.
It was 2 years, apparently. And he has a tendency to date his female co-stars. So he dates Rachel McAdams on The Notebook. He dates Eva Mendes and then later marries her on that Pine, whatever
Place
movie
in the
that
Pines,
they made.
I think it's
Oh my
called.
God. What
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she date Ryan Reynolds during the proposal, or was that did they not
She
have
did.
a thing?
Yes.
They
It might have been a publicity relationship, who's to say. But she absolutely did in the press propose that they were dating for a significant portion of time.
That is one of I really like that movie of hers because again she plays when she does these rom-coms, she plays a lot the same character a lot. They're sometimes neurotic. There's some they always have it's typical rom-com stuff, right? But I like that they try to make her a bitch in the proposal. I mean, she loses the facade about after Act 1, I think, but I still like it.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that she is doing a reasonable job here, but as you said, Gina, the problem is that she is so inherently likable that sometimes the darkness just doesn't come in because you're looking at her like, oh, it's Sandra Bullock.
Right, like
we love
I
her.
would have liked to have seen what, like, I don't know, Meg Ryan would have done with this role. Because she's good at having that kind of sunny persona, but there's something a little weird going on, under that.
Well, that's in the cut, Gina.
Right, I know, I'm aware of that. But I'm thinking, but she wasn't a cop in that.
Right, yeah, she's the Femme Patel. And actually, if folks want to hear Gina and I talk about that movie, we do discuss it on White Ladies in Crisis.
I will say I've never seen it, but I blind bought the Blu-ray, so I do own it.
Actually, really fucking good.
It is very good, very intense. Mark Ruffalo has a porn stash in it that I have very strong feelings about.
Yes, everyone and their dog would ride that fucking stash.
Okay. I might cut this out, but just a little anecdote. So because I was a religious reader of Entertainment Weekly, back in the day, and I remember I didn't know who Jane Campion was, so I had no like reference point for that. But it was like the summer or fall movie preview of Entertainment Weekly, and they were in the cut had a big feature on it, and they're talking about like Meg Ryan's talking about dildos and stuff, and I was like 13, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting, and I remember when it came out, Entertainment Weekly gave it an F, and I was so surprised.
It was very. I don't want to say it was misunderstood at the time because I was telling
it was. It's been reappraised. Yeah,
it's one of those movies that it's gotten a lot better esteem, a lot more esteem over time. It's a challenging movie, but in a good way, in a very interesting way.
Yes,
that intrigues me so much.
It is definitely worth seeking out, folks. Do not let those ratings or those reviews assuage you.
All right. Well, back to Murder by Numbers. It was released in theaters on April 19th, 2002, against fellow newcomer Chuck Russell's The Scorpion King. That film opened in the number 1 spot with the Ben Affleck Samuel L. Jackson thriller Changing Lanes, which was in its second week of release, taking the number 2 spot. Murder by Numbers opened in the number 3 spot with $9.3 million, goes on to gross about $32 million domestically and $25 million internationally for a worldwide gross of $57 million. I realized I didn't actually say the budget earlier.
Yes.
Folks, this had a budget of $50 million.
Oh, boy. That was going to be hard to recoup with this.
Where did it go? I'm sorry. I know, Patrick, you already told us where it went.
It went in Sandra Bullock's pocket.
Yeah, I mean, how much did Sandra Bullock make, right? That is the question.
She did buy a lot of barbecue.
She did.
She bought $25 million worth of barbecue.
I'm going to say high end, her salary was $20 million. And I don't even think it was that much, because that's what like Jim Carrey was getting paid in the 90s.
But she was opening films. That's the thing. Like, there was an era where movie stars were back, baby, and she was one of those people.
Yeah, it was like her and Julia Roberts were like they were both like guaranteed openers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I assume by putting her in TV commercials saying the profile doesn't fit the profile,
What does that even mean?
I think we all know what it means. And the fact that you're denying that the profile doesn't fit the profile means you're part of the profile problem.
Anyway, but yeah, so it wasn't a flop, but it definitely wasn't a success.
Yeah.
Critical reception was negative overall, but it wasn't like this was a bombed film. Like, it wasn't panned. It was mostly just, again, a lot of shrugs. We're looking at a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average score of 5.3 out of 10. Letterboxd users have given it a 5.8 out of 10. Again, it's there. You'll probably forget this the day after.
It's what I would call an it's fine movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? If you're a little hungover and you don't want to get into bed, you want to put something on that's easy to digest, it would be this one, which is weird given the subject matter we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's definitely a TNT Saturday afternoon movie at this point.
Yes, you can fall asleep during parts of it because you're too hungover, and then you wake up in time to get like either hair of the dog or maybe something to eat.
Well, okay, but when I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, they have the blurbs, and one of them was from that Common Sense Media that does like the ratings for like.
No.
Well, and so it's like, this Sandra Bullock movie is definitely not for children, and I was like, well, A, it's rated R, of course not, but B, this is borderline PG-13 to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the goriest it gets is they have like a close up of like a cut off finger. That's like the most gruesome it gets, I think.
But even with language, I think maybe Gosling is like, did you fuck her? And that probably earned it the R rating.
Yeah, he says fucking slut at one point.
Jesus.
Which is like, Ryan Gosling, Canadian national treasure, for uttering such horrible
I will say
things.
that, okay, because you use the peanut butter line to open the episode, Joe, and there's something about the way he delivers that line. It sounds like he has a mouth full of peanut butter when he delivers that line. Ugh, it's so weird.
All right.
What happens in this very long movie?
Yes, this movie is 2
hours.
And it has no business being 2 hours.
It feels it.
It is slow. It is a slow film. Okay, so we open with an aerial shot over some rocky water before pushing in on a derelict Jerbal's cottage that is hanging over the bluffs, and we've got 2 boys who are cementing a death pact.
Joe, what do you think about this in media res opening?
Here's the thing. I don't mind this because I think one of the things the film believes it's doing that's very novel and adventurous is that it's telling us who the killers are, and then it catches us up on what happens at the end of the film with all the flashbacks. So I kind of don't mind this.
I wouldn't mind it if we wouldn't have this suicide pact. If it was just something else about how they were the killers. But I don't, like, this is just teasing us about, oh yeah, we're building up to they're going to kill themselves, but clearly not.
Well, but this isn't the scene at the end of the film.
Yeah, it is.
No, because when Ryan Gosling calls Michael Pitt, he says we had an agreement. So I read this as the agreement before they decide to actually murder anyone.
No. It's because it's them killing. It's them holding a gun to themselves, and then we cut to black as gunshots are heard, which is the gunshot.
But that's their ritual. Their ritual is to recite this edict that crime and suicide is something you have to accept in society to be truly free. This is their raison d'etre for what they're about to do.
Oh my God, y'all, literally, I have seen this movie 3 times. Every time. I thought it was the climax of the movie before Sandra Bullock comes and, we have the fight on the balcony of this house.
Well, they're repeating the same thing, so it's a reasonable assumption to make.
It's like a teaser? Would that be the right word for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could be right, Trace, because the gunshot is the sort of telling thing. So I imagine we're going to hear from a bunch of people who are like, no, dum-dums, this is the final scene.
All those murder by number heads out there.
Sidebar, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge that the song Murder by Numbers does not appear in this movie, and it is a huge fucking mistake.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't know music, obviously. I only know that song because of, Joe, you know what it is.
Oh, don't make me guess.
Oh my God, Copycat. There's a whole scene devoted to that because whenever the copycat does the Son of Sam murder, he leaves a note with the lyrics to Murder by Numbers. So there's a whole scene where Holly Hunter plays it for all the cops in the office.
Okay, so sidebar to my sidebar, addending on that. Addending? Whatever. This movie reminds me of Copycat, but like a pale, diluted version of it. Like, imagine if Holly Hunter was in this.
Yeah, exactly. Or Sigourney Weaver.
Oh my god, yes.
Again, I maintain the issue here is not Bullock.
No,
the
it
issue
isn't.
is the script.
It isn't. She's not doing a bad job. She's just the wrong actor for this part. It's not. No, it's not her fault.
They can't find ways to communicate what they want that character to be, and so at times she just appears to be not into it when it's her character just rebuffing all the men who doubt her. When she does her job very, very well. And it comes off poor. And then when she's seducing this wet rag of a man.
Okay, wait. Patrick, I will interrupt you because I have to give this to Bullock. So, talking about, she's the aggressor in the sexual relationship, blah, 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 blah. Bullock offers nothing but props for her co-star Ben Chaplin, saying Ben had the hardest character in a sense that this man was okay being boring. He said,
Good.
I don't care. He said, I don't care. He knew who he was, and Ben, as an actor, had to say, I want to play this role, the least flashy role in the entire film, and he embraced it. It is so commendable. That is a direct quote from Sandra Bullock.
God bless him for saying he was boring and he leaned into it.
He leaned so far into it, he never leaned out of it at any point in his career.
I think that he was really, expending all of his energy into trying his hardest to do an American accent.
Yeah.
And slipping often, maybe every 3 words or so. That like he had nothing left for any kind of chemistry or anything.
Again, thinking about copycat, put Dermot Mulroney in this
There you
role.
go.
There you go, sure.
Well, because you can have a boring role, but you can have a charismatic actor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like they have to
Yes.
I don't know if they're doing that to just kind of make it evident that she's just treating men like a conquest, or if you're supposed to think that they have some kind of chemistry, because they don't.
Oh, they don't.
They do not.
No.
I would argue maybe in the scene where where we don't see them have sex, but like the lead into that is a little. I detect chemistry there, not after that.
Like when she puts her foot in his crotch, he's just like, ooh,
Yeah.
Me not into foot play. Sorry.
I realize you can looking uncomfortable might be an understandable reaction, but he just like ugh.
He's not a Flintstone. He doesn't need feet to make it work. But when Sandra Bullock looks at him, all of a sudden she's a movie star. When she looks at him like, "Hey, you want to fuck around?" That is, no one would say no to this.
Oh,
yes.
This is not a fucking dilemma.
I'm sorry. The fact that she doesn't even... I don't think Sandra Bullock even says fuck in this movie once. And the fact that she doesn't say, get over here and fuck me or something like that, just to give her some kind of an edge. It's such a missed opportunity.
She's mostly kind of making faces and, flirty eyes and, there's nothing wrong with that.
She doesn't have to say fuck. She's Sandra Bullock and it just fucking works.
Well, but
and he is so... I mean, I know he's a real person because I can't see through him. But if you told me that a Victorian ghost slept with a producer to get a role in this movie, I would believe you.
How do you really feel about it? Oh, boy.
It was. I had to go look up Ben Chaplin's filmography to be like, what? I mean, I know.
The only thing I know him from is I think he was in the movie The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
He's the love interest in that, but he's not. He's the boring one in that movie.
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna say I think he is
boring.
equally bland in that.
He is, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm going back to this the way this film is shot. The cinematographer for this movie, by the way, his name is Luciano Tovoli. Not only did he shoot a lot of Barbet Schroeder's films like Single White Female and Reversal of Fortune and Desperate Measures, he also shot the original Suspiria.
What?
And Tenebrae.
Holy shit.
Wow, what happened?
Well, he went on to film Dracula 3D for Dario Argento.
So it's a real downward slide. I mean, sure, it levels out at a certain point, but then when you hit Dracula 3D and you're like, I don't know how movies work, is how that movie comes off.
Even like when you hear Tenebrae, aren't you like, where is that camera work in this movie? You're talking about all the camera work and Hitchcockian styles. Where is that?
I mean, I don't think cinematographers are allowed to go off book entirely, though. So you have to imagine
That's
that
true.
he was being reined in or directed.
Yeah, he was directed to do that kind of just really dull cinematography.
Oh my God. Do you think it was like they pointed at the Sam guy and was like, match his performance with your cinematography. Do it as boring as possible.
I want the camera to represent him as an individual. And they're like, sure, that makes sense.
All right. Well, why don't we come back to people who are doing better in their performances in this film?
Mm-hmm.
So we're introduced to nerdy Justin, who is played by Michael Pitt, and he is reading his Nietzschean philosophy paper on the nature of evil before he is challenged by smug Richard Haywood, who was played by Ryan Gosling. And of course, we're also introduced here to Lisa, our female quote-unquote love interest, played by Agnes Bruckner.
Man, this girl, poor Agnes Bruckner, she is one of the most forgettable actresses I've ever seen in films.
So mean, but I don't disagree.
So Joe was like, this girl is like not very good. And I was like, it's Agnes Bruckner, you know, from Lucky McKee's The Woods or Blood and Chocolate or something else that I said.
I seem to be the only person on Earth who likes Venom.
So, Venom,
there we go.
Venom, Venom is really fun. Venom is very fun. But again, you don't walk out of that movie being like, man, Agnes Bruckner really nailed that.
I don't even remember.
Starve Tomorrow, Agnes Bruckner. No, not necessarily. But she might as well be Sandra Bullock in comparison to Ben Chaplin in this movie.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So that's sort of our introduction to the kids, but then we hop back to the cottage later. So immediately we're establishing that the facade in the classroom is just that. And these two boys actually know each other, but like the homoeroticism is off the chart immediately between these two because Richard is threatening Justin, holding a gun at him, but he's got him by the neck like they're about to fucking French kiss.
There's more chemistry between them in that classroom scene than there is between Sandra Bullock and Ben Chaplin for any of their scenes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Like he's just smirking at him and like just making eyes and you know, they're pretending they don't know each other, but it's like, come on. You're not fooling anybody.
You know, Michael Pitt has an imprint of Richard's ring on his cock.
Or at least one butt cheek when he's grabbing him for the BJ, right?
Yes. You're grabbing too hard.
That is a problem with thumb rings and BJs. It's just, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them when it comes to that.
I was going to say, I don't think you're supposed to fold them, but, you know, what do I know? Maybe I've been taught wrong. I don't know.
You do if you're doing it right, Gina.
Are we talking about the penis? You're folding the penis? How does this work?
I own one. I know how they work.
It's a travel dick. You roll it up, you put it in the suitcase, and off you go. But yeah, like, this is basically a date. We're drinking absinthe in front of the fireplace. We might as well roll out a fucking bearskin rug and get down to business.
Exactly. I love the absinthe. I just like rolled my eyes. Of course, they drink absinthe.
And it's huge. The portions were huge.
Well, no. So that I just want to say, I appreciate that they were drinking absinthe correctly because you're supposed to put a sugar cube on this spoon, slowly pour water over it, which is called lushing. That is the normal size pour after the absinthe has been luged. Because you have like basically a shot or two of absinthe, like the emerald green liquor, but then you put a bunch of sugar water in it, which is what makes the pour so big, and it turns it a cloudy green instead of an emerald green.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if you drink it without the sugar, it will melt your insides like turpentine.
Oh,
well, and he's saying that it has like the same. He's drinking the hallucinogenic one. Like obviously, what you buy in the States now doesn't have hallucinogens in it.
No, yeah, not legal.
But it did make me throw up like the fucking Exorcist.
I mean, it just tastes like boozy licorice.
Yeah, I tried it once and made such a face that like my host just looked at me in pity. Just like, I'm like,
and it's expensive, so you don't want to waste it.
Well, because you can get like the luge. Actually, you'll walk into like a Prohibition, like a craft cocktail bar, and you'll see the luges there. That's all they're only there for absinthe drinks. But I will say, I like absinthe in a sense where it's an absinthe rinse of the glass. Like I drink Sazeracs, which are like a whiskey glass, but you just toss absinthe in there, toss it around, and then toss the absinthe out, and then pour your drink into it.
The one and only time I drank absinthe a lot, and I'm sorry to name drop. The reason for it was Chris Cornell was drinking it at a bar.
Ooh.
Decided to buy it for me, thinking this square can't handle it, and he was fucking right. Chris Cornell was right, everyone.
Talented musician and a wise man.
What is he the lead singer of? Because I only know him as...
Soundgarden and Audio Slave would be the second.
Got it.
And he sang a James Bond song.
Well, that's the only reason. I only know him from the Casino Royale soundtrack.
There you go.
Okay, so kill by kill, we're gonna kick this over to you because apart from the baboon, I feel like the most memorable visual in this entire film is the fact that these two boys have, what we would now call an AI generated image of their two faces combined, like if they were going to have a baby together.
It's like a TikTok filter at this point.
Why did we keep showing this in this movie?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what their. I don't know. I don't quite know if I understand what their end game in creating this was, except just that it was supposed to be kind of vaguely spooky imagery, like their faces are merging, like their personalities already have.
But their personalities are not merged. They don't
fit the profile.
The profile doesn't fit the profile.
I think it's just meant to be a visual symbol of, as you said, Gena, their unity or how they're coming together as one single person to collaboratively commit this murder. But boy, is this some like gay dads want to see what their future kids.
I was going to say, unfortunately,
like.
that is an ugly baby.
That is an ugly
well, it's a man, Gena.
It's an ugly baby man.
It's the worst kind of ugly baby. It's an ugly man. It's taken away all the attractive elements of Pitt and Gosling, and just left their blandest, shadows of themselves behind.
Yeah, like when they split them up, I'm like, oh, okay, that's better.
That works, but that thing in the middle doesn't work at all.
No, because the thing in the middle is uncanny. It doesn't look. It's human, but it doesn't look like a human.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that like Michael Pitt's like weird giant eyes don't look very good on Ryan Gosling's very long face.
I think but their lips are at odds with each other though, because I feel like Ryan Gosling was wearing some kind of lipstick for this entire movie because his lips jump off of his face.
I think they do anyways, but there is a fair amount of gloss going on here.
Yeah.
That they're definitely trying to make every element of this as seductive as possible.
Right.
They're also dressing Ryan Gosling in the most unbelievable outfits I have ever seen in anything that I think we've covered, Gena. I can't remember the last time someone wore sleeves that are zhuzh to the point that they're open at the elbow, just open, like he's a fucking vampire, like he's a Las Vegas vampire.
Yeah. I mean, he's a high school student who appears to be wearing silk shirts, and if there is anything more gay than that, I don't know.
Yeah, he's that sort of like only in Hollywood high school student who's always dressed like he's about to go out to some kind of nightclub.
But is he ordering from the International Mail catalog? Because what the fuck?
I don't know. There's a shirt at one point that he's wearing that looks like he's a tour manager for Elton John in 1975. It doesn't make sense. He's also wearing leather pants at multiple school affairs. Do any of you ever had a schoolmate who wore leather pants?
I mean, me and my best friend, and we were flaming homosexuals. Except we couldn't afford leather, so it had to be pleather.
He's got like a red jacket too, right? Or am I thinking of a different?
No, he's got like this red, looks like a red leather members only jacket.
It's fucking Claire Redfield's jacket from Resident Evil 2. Like that's all it is.
Yes. And that's how vivid. Like I don't play those games. I know you do, but. That immediately clicked for me. It is he looks like he's about to attend a party in a Blade movie. That's how he's dressed.
These are all apt comparisons. And folks, if you have not seen the film, you now know exactly what Ryan Gosling looks like in this movie.
And he is undoubtedly a very attracactive man. However,
oh my God, yes.
I will say, I think he is the best actor in this movie. His performance is so good that I find him physically repulsive.
Well, he's also the only actor, and you know, I point this out a lot when I write about movies. He's also the only actor that's really having a good time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he gets the fun role.
Yeah, he gets the show.
Right?
He gets to be the showy psycho.
Yeah, I mean, he gets to say the phrase, "Let's derange the world." That's not...
How can you not have fun with that line?
You know what? That's this movie is missing. It's camp.
Yes.
Yes.
Or,
Yes.
yeah, either stakes or thrills or camp.
One of those
would be fine. One of those would be good. All three, that's more than I could possibly ask for.
Because you know who the killers are, and you know who's after the killers. So it's not like, in the end, they stumble on a murder she's done in the past where she's like avenging her past or something like that.
Yeah.
And what you want are more double crosses.
Mm-hmm.
You want complications in this. And it offers a single complication in that Ryan Gosling's character is kind of a dumb fuck. And that complicates things.
In a post-Wild Things world, this just doesn't cut it.
Exactly. What I think is funny is the first time they interview Ryan Gosling about the shoes. He is so like obviously lying.
Yeah.
That like I expect like you know on the cartoons when someone's trying to pretend they're good and they'll turn away like kind of cover their hand with their cover their mouth with their hand like oops. And Ben Chaplin's character is like, yeah, well that sounds good to me.
Right. It makes his character seem even
So
fucking
stupid.
dumber.
Right.
Because Sandra Bullock's like, there's something wrong with this fucking guy. And he's like, I don't know. Seems like a real square peg to me. And you're like, what are you
Maybe we
talking
should
about?
dust for this vomit some more before we make any conclusions. And meanwhile, like Ryan Gosling cannot stop smirking to save his life.
That's the problem, Gina. You cannot dust for vomit. We've learned this.
The fact that vomit is like literally what brings them down, I was kind of like, y'all aren't really that smart, which maybe is the point behind their whole thing. But I was like, I don't know. He says, I don't remember vomiting. And I was like, I don't know, man. I feel like when you're planning a murder, maybe you should remember if you vomited.
Or like you should maybe go back like a couple hours later and make sure you didn't leave anything behind.
Or dump the body like 100 feet away from where you vomited.
Why can't he vomit in the fucking stream? It's right there. It's literally 5 more inches away.
It is wild because we see that stream as he's vomiting, and you're just like, gather it up, shoo it into the water.
Put it in the water. Let it flow.
Kick it in there.
But y'all, he doesn't remember vomiting.
Doesn't
That's your
remember.
workaround.
You know what? I have sympathy though, because honestly, if I ever got some sort of weird homoerotic pact with a friend to start murdering people as part of some Nietzschean philosophy, I would absolutely just puke all over the place in the middle of it.
Oh, sure.
My question, because you have to wonder how much he's thinking ahead of this. Is the vomit something he doesn't remember, or is he vomiting on purpose so that if they are caught, he can then come off as the sympathetic person who didn't want to murder anyone, just got roped into it by his very sexy friend who wears very open-collared shirts, and he just couldn't say no.
I don't believe that, because I think this movie, I don't think this is a dumb movie, but I do think that the movie sometimes thinks the audience is dumb.
Yeah.
They would have told us that.
Yeah, I think they would. I think if that happened, they would have pulled a Usual Suspects and kind of like showed how he was actually the real mastermind behind it all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and actually, Joe, that's the thing is like, this is the second week in a row, but we also mentioned it in Hostel Part 2, where it's like, oh yeah, the one that's seemingly the quote unquote normal weaker one is actually the murderer.
Yeah, it's meant to be the subversion, but also it's such a weird message. I don't always like it.
I think it carries some weird connotation isn't the right word, because that's like, but it's like a thing where it's like, oh yeah, like the person who's meeker, shyer, more effeminate, more flamboyant, like they're more psychotic because they've been bullied by society more.
Yeah, far more likely to be deranged, psycho killers. They're plotting the downfall of everyone around them because they think they're better. Yeah, it's
like you guys have covered a lot of the movies that we've covered, and you've seen the way horror movies treat horror fans. Where like, here's this sicko who likes this bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a little bit of that on a true crime bent here, where here's this guy who's just intellectually really into crime as an idea. And as such, because he's the brains behind it, not the muscle, therefore he's the worse off here. He's the one you really have to fear. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, no, I fear both of them. They're both fucked up.
That's where it plays into being Leopold and Loeb. Because, in fact, I actually just read a very good book about that case just recently, and that was the thing is now unlike these characters, they made it to trial, and the whole thing was, well, which one of them was the smarter one here? Which one? Because they couldn't have both come up with this idea.
No.
This one of them had to manipulate the other one through sex and violence to get them to agree to do this. Like, no, there's.
Mm-hmm.
Most, murder cases that involve two people, they're both in on it pretty equally.
Well, there's a moment in this film late in the movie where Lisa goes to Justin and she's like, he forced you to do it. You're a good person. And I just wrote in my notes, he forced you to commit murder?
Oh,
like,
no,
girl, no, he's not a good person.
Okay, no, I wrote in my notes, because whenever Michael Pitt confesses to her, we murdered someone, her reaction is so nonplussed.
Yeah.
I was like, if someone told me they murdered someone, I might have a bit more of a reaction to that.
Yeah, a gasp or a what are you talking about or something.
Get the fuck away from me.
Get the fuck out of my apartment might be one of those.
Can I ask y'all something?
Mm-hmm.
So the poster for this movie, has the murder by numbers, and there's like a stylized thing where the E in murder is a backwards 3, and the B in by is 8, and the B in numbers is 8. Why is this called murder by numbers?
I was wondering that. I was like, I'm not quite sure why this is called that.
And there's no number. I mean, you could argue, they're trying to plan the perfect murder. Maybe a perfect murder was already taken.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. But it should have been incorporated into Pitt's philosophy, or because he has this mantra, he goes, 1, we do this, 2, we do that, 3. All you need is one fucking scene to explain it.
Or they write like a note that's in code, like Zodiac
There's no numbers.
Something.
Again, just watch Copycat. Better movie, everyone. It's a better movie.
But you know what, though? I would watch... I mean, look, not saying I want to, get rid of Holly Hunter in that movie, but I would have watched Copycat. I think Copycat with Sandra Bullock in the Holly Hunter role still would have been very good. Maybe not as interesting because Holly Hunter has a very different...
performance
everything
style.
About herself.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be an interesting role.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Sure. It's not. I think they could do either role. There's not this Twitter comparison of, well, they can do this, but they can't do that.
Right.
They could have switched it. It's fine. What it comes down to is that Copycat is a better conceived thriller than this, which has a title and casts some people, and they're like, I don't know, make a movie.
Yeah,
shrug.
Copycat is very, very tight. This is not tight. This is 2 hours long of two.
Copycat is also 2 hours long.
Is it really? I don't recall it feeling like it was that long.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
It has stakes. There's a problem for each of those cops to solve, and then you have a ticking clock of the murders stacking up.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't have that. It has one murder and then one extra murder just to cover for the first murder. But that's their plan. Their plan ends.
Yeah,
there.
it's like okay, you're not gonna you're not gonna kill other people. That's it. Just this one.
Also, Gena, Copycat is 3 minutes longer than this movie.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it in ages, but I remember thinking it was pretty well paced.
I've seen Copycat no fewer than 20 times.
It does. It plays very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yeah, we're introduced to Detective Cassie Mayweather. We get this hint that she has a dark history, but we think it's tied to a previous case that needs to call her back to Boston to testify at a parole hearing that she just does not want to address.
Okay, did this hoodwink y'all? Did y'all watch this and say, well, clearly she's the victim in that case?
I didn't remember exactly what she is. And the movie also tries to play possum with it by casting her under a wide brim hat as the cop who stumbles down the hillside by the body, and you're like, oh, okay. But then I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. She is the victim.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with her, like, not letting anybody see her without a shirt on, I'm like, okay, but she's hiding something.
Like, so, be it burn scars or
right,
scars.
So it's like, because she's hiding like a woman who's afraid to take her bathing suit off the beach because she thinks she's too fat. So I'm like, okay, there's something there. This is more than it's the bad case I was involved in.
Yeah, and I guess kudos to them for trying to do something with this sort of battered woman PTSD trauma survivor bit. I think part of it, again, is that we've seen this done now so many times and far more effectively. Again, I can't recall if in 2002 this would have played better.
Well, no. So, Joe, novelty aspect aside, this backstory of her, which I do, I agree, I appreciate it. I think this is something that we should be featuring in movies and like talking about it. The problem is, it's so surface level here. Like, it's just here as a character trait / slight backstory. And that's why it's kind of like, oh, like I wish the movie was just about that. But we can't devote all the runtime to it.
But Trace, this is how we explain that she's a big slut. Which I find very uncomfortable from like a 2020
Well, yeah, it's
perspective.
the whole thing about, and yeah, that was definitely a thing for a while, that if you're a promiscuous woman, it's because
you're fucked up.
Well, no, but I like that aspect of it, though, because again, to me, I'm like, okay, if you're watching this, you're like, wow, she's kind of a slut, but you're like, wait. Gender flip every single role in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
No one would have an issue with her behavior.
No.
And so that aspect of it, I like. I do wish the film did more to like be like, hey, y'all, look at this. but on that base level alone, I appreciate it.
No, I mean, this is, you gender flip it, it is striking distance. There's a well-worn path here. The problem is that you have two paths in front of you. You either make this, the two of them, the Leopold and Loeb characters here, are the main thrust. And she is an interesting background character who's who's doggedly on the case, but is not the focus of the movie.
Right.
Or you make her the focus of the movie trying to solve this crime, and they are the colorful side characters, but only that. This tries to play it both ways, and as such, it is in the middle of the most interesting sides of the road.
It's weird because what y'all have all said, is, like the movie clearly thinks the most subversive part of this is, we reveal the killers from minute one. And I almost, wish, let's make the Sandra Bullock character the focus, and let's make it an actual whodunit.
Yes, you absolutely could have done it that way and made the chief of police a real threat, or her ex, who's now a DA, a threat, or other people at school, whatever it is. You could have made this an interesting mystery, or you take the mystery away and we have the reveal right away, and you make her a mystery.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
You can't do both.
Not with her.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So thank you, Patrick. You did bring in Captain Rod Cody, who is played by Artie Call as well. Yes, Rod Cody.
He seems to be a bad guy from a Steven Seagal movie we're not watching. Right. I would love to see that movie. I don't know what he's doing here. He seems to be an officious asshole and a middle manager, but then really he does not want to fill out paperwork in HR about this one detective, is what it comes down to. Deep down, he loves her.
But that's but sometimes the way he reacts to her, I'm kind of like, I mean, dude, I kind of get it, man. She's really insubordinate.
Well, the profile doesn't fit the profile.
Well, it's also because she's fucking right all the time, so that's gotta be tough.
It's irritating.
We also have DA Al Swanson, who is, I would argue, we're looking at this film during Toxic Masculinity Month. Obviously, we can talk about the Leopold and Loeb of it all and what boys feel like they need to do to fit in. Oh, I'm so hard-pressed for a friend. I guess I'll murder an innocent woman from a parking lot. But then this DA and the way that he's just casually telling a person he literally just met, oh yeah, she fucks all of her partners and then she ices them out. Like, this DA guy is a great example of toxic masculinity too.
But I also understand why he does that, because he feels burned. He's sensitive. He feels burned by the woman who fucked him and ran, because women don't do that.
Right.
And she's also better at the job.
Yeah, what I love is how
he had to go get an entirely different job, and he still sucks.
What I love is how every time she speaks, he gets this yeah, right kind of face on look on his face, and she is right every time.
I think that's another issue I have, though, is I think the movie would have done better, because the mystery of the movie, or at least what I think the movie is trying to make a mystery, is what happened to Cassie. Like, well, why is she like this? And I almost think it would have been more interesting if that was just revealed up front and we were dealing with that from the get-go. But the problem is the movie just kind of sprinkles all these little tidbits until we have the reveal. Again, Joe, you said the 50-minute mark where we learn what it is, but it's just kind of like, why are you dragging this out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really care. I mean, if she if she wants to sleep with her partners, all right. I mean, that's probably going to make things awkward sometimes, but whatever. It's not very interesting to me.
Yeah, there's no suspense sequence to this murder. It is just the aftermath of it, which is a way to go. I'm not saying I have to be thrilled that way.
But that's the CSI of it all, though.
And I realize there's supposed to be some suspense saying, "Oh, will she go testify against her ex-husband?" Of course she will. I mean, like I don't know why they make it seem like there's a possibility that she won't. Of course she's going to do the right thing and testify against him at the end.
Well, that was another thing Bullock had said, though, whereas it's the story of this dark tale, like really like disturbing subject matter, but there's a moral lesson at the end, and I'm like, yeah, there is, but it's so basic.
And also, it doesn't really have anything to do with the two boys. Like, it doesn't. No, they don't gel in any way, and that's why it feels like two different movies kind of just glom together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bullock's chemistry with Gosling, because the scene where she and Sam go to interview him in this abandoned gymnasium, we later learn that he's basically the richest kid in town, but he doesn't ask for a lawyer and they just do it in a public setting. I was like, where's the decorum in the protocol here?
But that's a conscious decision on his part, because A, if you lawyer up, you look guilty immediately. B, the whole point of this is because they knew the cops would come looking, because that footprint of his, VG boots.
His $600 boots, yeah.
Which, oh my God.
Which in 2002 money is tantamount to $100 million.
But that's the thing, though. It's like, okay, the boot was intentional. They wanted the cops to come to them because they wanted to enjoy hoodwinking the cops.
It's part of the excitement.
Yes.
It's part of the thrill.
But that's why, though, when the vomit is revealed to be an actual mistake, you're kind of like, these are a couple of idiots.
Oh, you mean they didn't just stick their fingers down her throat and just let fly with the half-eaten caviar?
Also, who the fuck eats caviar before your very first murder? What?
Yeah, you really need something. You really need something more substantial. You need a nice chicken dinner or something.
Because also, is Justin supposed to be rich? Justin's not rich, right?
No.
Why is he the one eating at the caviar restaurant?
By himself. He's 16 with a book, eating his caviar.
I've gone to a restaurant by myself for lunch, not for dinner. And I've had a book. It's totally... I've been to many a
But you haven't had caviar.
No,
the Chili's caviar is something to behold. It really is one of their better dishes.
Wait, maybe he's getting a murder stipend from Richie Rich, and it was like, you know what? We've got a big night. Why don't you treat yourself to a book and caviar at the fanciest restaurant in town?
Because we don't know anything about Justin's home life. We don't even get to meet... We meet Richard's his dad, once, maybe twice.
Oh, we see Richard's mom as well, because when he packs up to run, she goes, Richard, are you coming home for dinner?
You're not supposed to leave the house.
But we know nothing about Justin's home life in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah, he might as well just live by himself.
Well, this is a very dead girl situation, Trace, because we do hear Sandy B mention that they don't have parents and they don't have hobbies and they don't have jobs. All they have is murder.
The profile doesn't fit the profile, Joe.
And yet, as soon as they get revealed, it's like, oh yeah, the profile does fit.
It totally fits the profile.
It fits exactly.
But let's talk about this scene where, okay, so Cassie is adamant that she thinks it's these boys. She uncovers that there is a connection between the two of them. They've been lying to everybody. Sam is fucking off inheriting the case and trying to pin it on Chris Penn's domination, bondage, janitor guy.
I had no idea Chris Penn died, by the way, but I was like, what do I know him from? And y'all are going to laugh.
Tony Scott movies?
No. Okay, Joe, you're going to really laugh at this, actually. He is the male villain opposite Debbie Mazar in Beethoven's Second.
Oh, yes. It all tracks.
I love Beethoven's Second.
He does. He brings it up.
The rare sequel that outdoes the original. I think we can all agree.
100%. And you know why? Because of Debbie Mazar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Debbie Mazar pluses up just about anything she's in. But of course, few people realize that the proposal for that sequel is the director came in, wrote Beethoven on a whiteboard, then wrote an S and made it into a dollar sign.
Patrick, I have heard that joke from you before, I think.
I have 10 jokes, and they just rotate.
But yeah, okay, so Cassie is adamant that these boys have done it, and she decides, even though she's been warned by the captain not to go down this path, she begins to follow Richard, and then she steals his garbage so that she can give it to the forensics people. Okay. But let's talk about the scene where he confronts her in the car, because I actually think this is the most exciting scene in the film.
Well, because they actually have chemistry.
And there's stakes. There are stakes to this, because she's on the fringe. She's on the edge, as it were, of movie compdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's told her to get off the case. Everything's happened with the exception of put your badge and gun on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you end up clocking a teenager with your car door, and everyone in the department kind of hates you.
Well,
that is legit stakes.
The moment, because you see it in her face, the moment she hits him with that car door, she knows. She's like, oh shit.
She's fucked.
Like, she
Yeah,
knows
I'm fucked.
she is fucked.
But of course, this is a movie. She's movie fucked, because if you do that in real life, you're just fine. Actually, you can do much worse and remain on the
I feel
force
like you'd
for a
get
very
some-
long time.
Well, no, because it could be, they could charge her with assault.
Which is what he tries to do, of course.
I guess.
I mean, it comes to nothing, so it doesn't really matter. But
Right, yeah.
yeah, I just find it so interesting / uncomfortable when he tries to press himself through the open window, seemingly to kiss her.
Yes. Yeah. There are so many weird sexual, borderline rapey vibes every time they're in a scene together. But again, I wish they had it more, because it makes everything more interesting.
I mean, the sex stuff in this movie to me is the stuff that it's worth checking out for. Like, all of the scenes between Gosling and Pitt, I think, are actually really good. And I like the way that they play the hierarchy in their relationship in terms of the power dynamics. And then, yeah, all this stuff with Gosling and Bullock is really good too.
But you say that, though, I will say, the one scene between Bullock and Chaplin that I kind of think is fun is whenever after they fucked and he's confronting her and he's like clearly upset because she fucked him and doesn't want to like make love to him, as Gina so eloquently put.
It's not just about sex. I respect you as a person.
And then she can barely finish the sentence without just bursting into laughter. That is a great fucking moment.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You know, people don't respect the foot jobs they get during Matlock. And that sequence really does bring a very common.
Maybe that's why he was
experience to
uncomfortable. It's like, Matlock's on television.
Oh, please.
A white sock cock rub from Sandra Bullock during Matlock, the sexiest of primetime entertainment.
Plenty of people have had sex to very awkward things. I'm trying to think. I have had sex to my best friend's wedding.
Was that in theater or at home?
No, it was at home. It was actually my husband. And when we were very early dating, we put it on, and then we were like, we both love this movie. Oh my god, you love this movie? You love this movie? Oh my god, let's fuck.
We must have sex right now.
It's the only resolution to this examination of our personal dynamic.
Wait, I'm sorry. Also, but what about Sandra Bullock saying, I gotta take a piss? Because that's not a very ladylike thing to say.
Yeah, honestly, I was
True,
like,
but
I think even like, hard-edged women aren't gonna say, I gotta take a piss.
Well, I mean, you would be forgiven for thinking some of this was a character that was written originally as a male and then retrofit over.
Well,
but I think that what they're doing is basically what Patrick described off the top, which is they looked at Lethal Weapon, they looked at a Bruce Willis movie, and they said, okay, yeah, keep a lot of that dialogue and all of those characteristics, and we're just going to put Sandy B in.
And I don't want to say, it's a male screenwriter, but it's clearly a male screenwriter in the early 2000s saying, how do I make like a hard-edged woman, female
she drinks
cop
and she fucks.
Let's just steal some dialogue from other cop movies that have men and just make Sandra Bullock say this shit.
Mm-hmm.
But she also looks at court documents with Sheryl Crow playing in the background. I'm sure Ms. Crow must have been thrilled was associated with the multiple emotions that her music is used for in this film. Why Murder by Numbers was not chosen, or Police Songs, or Sting.
Any of the above. It's because it's a very woman-friendly moment, right? It's when she's empathizing too much with the victim instead of the killer.
Oh my god! I wanted
you
to
said her
throw
name.
my fist through my computer. Oh.
So you gotta have the little spare music playing.
Well, okay. Okay, so I'll push this. I don't know if I'm going forward or back, but what about the scene where Richard basically confronts Justin about the Lisa stuff? Because what I find interesting about this, he's like, you stood me up for that slut. Did you fuck her? Mm-hmm. He's crying when he's saying that.
Oh yeah, he's mad. He is hurt.
Well, he's crying, and then he leaves a sex tape for Justin to watch, proving she's bad because I fucked her. And then Justin starts crying, and then Richard calls him, and they're on the phone, and Richard is just like, you're such a special person. I just think you deserve to know. I was like...
He's like, I'm the only one you can trust. And it's like...
I'm also a little confused, though, because didn't Richard already fuck Lisa, like, before?
It's definitely...
This is from before.
Yeah, it's definitely, that they have at least dated, because he is just like, when he's trying to pick her up in the car, he's all like,
And she says, like, we've been down this road before. Like, we don't know that sex tape is actually
new.
From this encounter. It could have been from a previous encounter.
That's how I read it. That's what
anyway,
nevertheless, what he says is about fucking Lisa. I had to do it. The last thing I wanted to do is hurt you, but I had to show you what she was like, and that's what she's like. I'm the only person who cares about you. I'm the only person who cares about who you really are, which is a gay man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, even if we jump back to the beginning of the film where they're talking about, we should do it tonight. No, I think we need to wait. We should hold off a little bit longer. They're obviously talking about doing a murder, and yet you could very easily substitute that in for, they're going to fuck
Which is why it's such a cop-out that they don't even show them kissing. And I mean, I realize that, it's a mainstream movie in 2002. They weren't going to go that far. But I keep thinking of, you brought up the movie Swoon, which I watched for the first time last year.
Okay, what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. I was gonna say that it pops into my mind every now and then, and you didn't like it?
I haven't seen it. I saw that it's available for free entirely.
I thought you guys covered it on the show. Okay, yeah, no, it was on Criterion last year.
Okay.
No, I thought it was very well done, and it is I can't even say it's homoerotic. They're an openly gay couple. They're basically how Leopold and Loeb really, really were in real life. Like these, two kind of pretentious rich boys who were sleeping together, and the movie because it was an indie film,
Right.
no gods, no masters. They went. I mean, the sexies weren't graphic, but they were definitely sexual. And I just here it's just such a cop out.
Well, okay. So I agree as a cop-out, and I think personally that the movie would have been better making this more explicit. That being said, Joe and Trace, this is 2002. If they make them explicitly gay, are they then going to get the rap that they are making them queer villains simply to other the villains and make them this evil that are just a gay couple, and that's why they're killing people?
So ordinarily, I would say yes, but because it's 2002, I think what happens is if you do that, you end up in the situation Gena just described. This isn't a studio film anymore.
Right.
Like, a studio wouldn't have put out a confirmed, like, oh, they're kissing. The most you would have gotten would be a heavier insinuation. But like, I think the other close comparison is a movie that Trace addressed earlier, which is Gus Van Sant's Elephant, about the Columbine shootings, where you do have a queer kiss, but it's left ambiguous. But that film is small. It's very indie.
Well, it's not about their queerness, though. And I think there's a much more interesting version of this movie that is about their queerness.
Yes, absolutely. Because then you could actually play up the idea of who is the one who instigated it. Are they both bad? But again, that we're talking Leopold and Loeb proper. Like, they just wanted to use that as the backdrop.
But that's what Patrick was talking about, though. Then that's the movie where Sandra Bullock's character is a background. I mean, she's maybe not a background character, but she's a tertiary character or a secondary character. And that is not what they were going to do with this movie.
No.
And she becomes Tommy Lee in The Fugitive, where she's this compelling background looming force that is constantly on their heels. The movie is not about him, but she would pop because she's that threat outside of their ongoing shenanigans. And that would be a movie. That would be a movie.
Well, and you can even bring her around more often because, again, the whole point is they're trying to make the perfect murder. They're trying to fuck with the cops. You can have her come around a lot more and trying to get them, but they keep hoodwinking her at every turn until the very end, which would be suspenseful, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them do it. Actually, Gena, it's another film you and I covered with Jen Adams on White Ladies in Crisis. They basically did a version of that with Double Jeopardy and Ashley Judd, right?
Right.
You know, when they basically repurposed The Fugitive by having Tommy Lee Jones come back. And it's not quite the same thing, but yeah, like, you could have this persistent cop character who would pop, but then you still get to focus on the more dynamic, kind of scintillating, maybe sexualized figures that drive the story forward.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how very San Luis Obispo this movie is?
I mean,
Nobody but
I don't know how much will.
Nobody but you is going to be able to clarify that for sure.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? I have no idea what you just said.
It's a California thing.
It's a California thing. This is very Central Coast. San Luis Obispo is a college town. Morro Bay is just on the outside of it. Morro Bay, most people know from The Birds. So it's this California Golden Coast area. Bodega Bay. And, you know, they play fast and loose with where these all things are in relation to one another. But Slow is a very nice little downtown. It has that canal or river that actually runs through it that bridges go over. And when they're, when he's playing the tape for Justin, like, I may have fucked up a little bit when I was telling the story. That's all like going along the back river of downtown Slow, which is a very nice town, and I like it a lot, but it also does have that one wall where everyone puts their gum on it.
Oh.
Like, it's like that's an activity and not an unsanctioned science experiment. Outside of that, very nice town. I've been drunk there many times.
A glowing recommendation.
If you have it within you, check out San Luis Obispo.
Okay. I mean, I think that this is giving the appropriate amount of small town with rich people in it, but not everybody is rich.
I thought this was like a major city in some major state in the United States. I didn't know this was meant to be a small town.
Really?
Yeah, I had no fucking idea.
It's almost because Heldsburg is where they film a lot of Scream.
Right.
So there's that middle California thing, which of course that is the same town that Hitchcock does. The Trouble with Harry, with the uncle who's killing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that Scream is evoking that, and then this is evoking Scream. So like, if you're two guys who are kind of horny for one another, but you can't fuck and you end up murdering, Central California is for you.
But only in the movies, not in real life, hopefully.
Not in real life, no. You can do that in West Hollywood.
Okay, so why don't we talk about how the last act plays out in this movie, because we've got all of these CSI-esque flashbacks of the boys committing the crimes, planting the evidence, plotting all the stuff.
The crimes. They murder one woman.
Well, they also murder Chris Penn, who
Yes.
I'm fine with, actually.
Which because we see Ryan Gosling murder him, and
he's full Patrick Bateman.
well, it's very surprising given where we end up. Isn't it a little surprising that he is the one that kills this man?
No, because that's the pact. That's the strangers on the train pact that they kind of make, because Pitt's character does kill the stranger.
Yes.
And Gosling's character has to commit to killing the guy they're set up to take the fall
Right.
for. So they're each down for one. But the conflict that he has on his face when that actually happens, where he's kind of saddened by how sad this is, it genuinely affects him in the sense like, wow, this guy amounts to nothing.
Oh,
And I'm helping him get there.
Yeah. Especially when we learn that it was Richard who basically told Ray, hey, you should leave your main house because you're going to get raided by the cops. You should go to a secondary location where I alone will know where you are so I can murder you while dressed up like Patrick Bateman.
I mean, he may also be sad just because, that's his weed guy.
True, yes.
But also, why is the I'm sorry, this rich as fuck white teenager is settling for weed?
Yeah, he definitely seems more like that's a coke
He's a
guy
coke
right
kid,
there.
absolutely.
With those clothes, that wardrobe, come on.
Cocaine written all over him.
He's just driving around. He's driving around listening to Iron Maiden. Come on.
Oh my god. Hey, I wouldn't have known that, but I had subtitles on and it was like Iron Maiden playing, and I was like, that's a band.
Again, an opportunity to play Murder by
Numbers. I mean, but here's the thing, though. This movie takes itself far too seriously to incorporate the song Murder by Numbers into this thing. Coming at it makes sense because it's not called Murder by Numbers. But this movie, I can guarantee you Schroeder would have been like, no, that cheapens the film.
They could have played it over the end credits or something.
You know what? Yes, end credits.
Get Sheryl Crow to do a fucking cover or something.
There we go.
Yes! She just did a James Bond song 5 years ago as of this movie. Yeah, let her do it.
She needs money. Come on.
She needs money.
She has a fucking mortgage. We all got mortgages. She could use a job.
Okay, so we end up at this cottage for our big climax. It seems like we're going to enact our murder-suicide pact, but of course, Richard has only given Justin the gun with the bullets because he wants him to take the fall. It's tricky because I know we've been joking this whole time that these are queer men, but my read of the film is actually that Richard is the queer one and Justin is the who really knows how he identifies. But the way that Richard reacts to every little thing that Justin does throughout this film, like even when he says, okay, so when we finish this plan, where does that leave us? Where does it leave us? And you're just like, oh, you're so codependent.
It's like, we have to pretend we don't know each other after this.
But when it comes down to it, he's very much like, you know what? I'll let him kill himself. It's fine.
Yeah, it just seems like a weird turnabout. I get that at this point he probably just wants to get himself out of trouble.
I think he's just, filled with regret. Not necessarily regret over, killing somebody, just ever getting involved in this in this plan. Like, remember when you're a little kid and you get in trouble and you say you're sorry, your mom says you're not sorry, you did it, you're sorry, you got caught. It's kind of, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. And then you just shoot your friend because you're trying to shoot the cop instead.
Exactly.
as one
Oops, among
does.
us.
So then we end up with Chekhov's fight out on the back porch that's about to fall into the fucking ocean.
Call it what it is. This is not a back porch. This is a studio sound stage with a green screen, and not a very good one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That is against the plate. That they are not anywhere near
The beach.
San Luis Obispo when they're filming that bad boy.
Okay, so this is really bad green screen. We will come back to this in a moment, but I watched this on Canadian Netflix, and they... I had to specify because it just got added and it was number 10. I was like, oh, other people are watching Murder by Numbers, apparently.
But Joe, does Canadian Netflix have different video quality than American Netflix?
Does it encode things in a worse manner?
So that's what I had to ask, because all of the sudden, out of the fucking blue, when they're doing the dual interrogation scenes of the boys and we cut back to the double, the two-way glass, all of a sudden, I'm watching this with my husband, and Brian just goes, why does that one lab technician have blue hair all of a sudden? And it's because they blue screened the fucking two-way mirror so that we could see Ryan Gosling.
So it's a complete reshoot, or they're taking two halves of it and making it into one scene.
But it's like they couldn't just shoot with an actual two-way mirror. Like they couldn't build a little set that has.
Joe, there's $50 million at stake, and $20 million of it is going to Sandra Bullock. No, we don't have an acupuncture and barbecue. We don't have money
I was
for
going
a
to say,
two-way
we
mirror.
talked about the barbecue budget, Joe.
Yeah.
It was probably Franklin's Barbecue, which if you live in Austin, Texas, as Sandra Bullock does, knows you had to wait in line for 3 hours. No, even if you're Obama, because he cut in line one year and people were really pissed.
So wait, Trace, did you ever go to Sandra Bullock's place on 6th Street?
No, I did not. Wait. Like a bar?
She had a restaurant that was on 6th.
Do you know what it was called?
I don't. But you know how 6th Street just seems to expand every year? Like it keeps crawling away farther and farther away from the interstate in terms of its venues. It lasted, I would say, a good 8 years and then evaporated.
I'm looking, it's something called Best Bistro, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely have not been there. But it closed in 2016.
Correct. Yes.
Was it open in 2002 though?
I don't know about that.
I don't believe so. But because I distinctly remember going during I go to South by Southwest every year for music time and getting drafted into going there one time. Like, this is fair, but you're surrounded by so much good food in Austin. It seems like the only reason I'm showing up here is because Sandra Bullock owns the joint.
Right.
I mean, you're hoping for that celebrity spotting. I get it.
That's right. I need to get out of LA for celebrity spottings. I need to get into a town like Austin.
My celebrity it wasn't even someone I liked. I worked at a wine bar in Westlake, which is like the very rich area of Austin where Sandra Bullock might live. And I worked at a wine bar, and it was Easter fucking Sunday. And who walks in but a reverend or a priest and 30 people, and with no reservation. And one of those people is Matthew McConaughey. Oh. And they wanted a table. And I was like, you fuckers didn't make a reservation. But of course...
But did God prevail?
Oh, yeah. No, he prevailed. Because, of course, our manager was like, it's Matthew McConaughey. We have to seat them. And I was like, they didn't make a fucking reservation.
But then he's going to do that little lisp whistle, and he's going to drive us all insane. You got to put him in a seat.
I did touch Matthew McConaughey's hand. I handed him a mimosa that he didn't want.
Which, I don't know a lot about Matthew, but I'm assuming every mimosa is a mimosa he doesn't want, unless there's a whole, eighth of weed, dousing inside of it.
I guess. I don't, whatever. Fucking Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, so coming back to the climax of the movie, which is where we were at.
Yes.
Green screen falling to the death, not very good. Did we ever for one moment believe this apparent fake out of Justin clobbering her to death?
Oh, no, I didn't believe it. So I thought you meant the fake out of where we're like, Justin is the real killer.
Oh, I believe that for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't buy into the whole that he was going to kill her. Like, it's fine. But one thing I really do like about this movie, though, is the switcheroo with them. Even though by now it's kind of old hat, as we already discussed, even with Dead Girl last week. But I do like the resolution with Justin and Cassie in the end of this movie. Well, okay, is there a part of you that's kind of like, oh, please let him off the hook? He did save your life.
I mean, yeah.
Gena's like, let him fry.
My question to all of you is, does Gosling's character have a thing for getting punched? Because whenever it happens, he seems to relish it.
Patrick, I think you're missing the timeline. He's dead.
I know he's dead now, but I didn't get a chance to say this before because I started going off about Sandy's restaurant in fucking Austin. That boring story. Let's get back to Gosling character's weird picadillos. Yeah. I think he enjoys getting punched.
He's such a fun and interesting character. And I really wonder how much of that was, in the script, and how much he decided he was going to bring to this character.
Well, if you read reviews from the time, even the worst reviews will single out Ryan Gosling.
Really? Okay.
Even the Entertainment Weekly one from Liza Schwarzbaum, she was like, newcomer Ryan Gosling, a magnetic presence even in junk like this.
Wow.
I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, if he wasn't in this, I would like this movie a lot less. And I didn't think it was that great to begin with.
But I don't think I'd call this junk. Like, to me, this is so firmly middle of the road. Yeah. Like, I watched a lot of movies like this in theaters in the early 2000s, and it was like, yeah, it could have been a little bit better, but am I unhappy I watched it?
It's fine. It's fine.
But that's why I'm saying, though, at least in terms of memorability, wouldn't you rather this movie be a fucking clusterfuck of bullshit?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
We encourage swings. Yes. Around here.
And that's the thing. This movie doesn't take swings, which I commend it for playing it safe, but I also hate it for playing it safe.
Right, yeah. And it's a victim of its time period. If this movie had been made now, they could have gone in all sorts of wild directions with it.
Okay, Murder by Numbers remake Hive, come out.
There we go. It's going to be a 10-part limited series on HBO, and it's going to have full frontal dong.
Well, because then you can devote the appropriate amount of screen time to both stories in this movie.
You could still use Sandra Bullock. You don't even have to recast.
She's not even 60 yet. She's not at retirement age. For a cop, I mean.
Okay, so here's the other question, though. Do you get franchise vibes from this? Like, do you think they ever imagined, ooh, if this kicks off, we could get a Cassie Mayweather part 2?
If only because it feels like a television cop procedural, so therefore, yes, I would watch the next episode of this season.
This wasn't based on a book, was it?
No, it's an original piece outside of Leopold and Loeb.
Okay.
But it very much feels like it was written on a James Patterson
It does,
novel.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. She feels like a very baked-in, hard-edged detective character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's Murder by Numbers, but you take away the S, you put in the 2, and you make it a dollar sign. There you go.
I don't know if you actually said this, Patrick, but I heard it. Murdered by Numbers. There's your movie.
Okay. Get Sesame Street involved. The Count is a suspect.
But yeah, I think that the way this movie could have been improved is to make it either full camp like Wild Things, or you make it darker like Zodiac.
Right. So here's we're gonna date. I will date us by bringing this up. But Reese Witherspoon did an interview recently or something where she said, oh, people don't want to see me in darker material. They want to see me in lighter material. To which I'm like, bitch, you in the morning show. Come on. But nevertheless, though, I wonder if Sandra Bullock thinks the same thing about herself, where it's like, oh, like in post 2000, when I've gone to darker material, it hasn't really connected with audiences. And a part of me is really sad by that because I'm kind of like, oh, I would love to, because again, as we've said multiple times in this episode, there is a good movie in here. Pick one avenue and make it. I would love to see Sandra Bullock do something like gross like this. I mean, I think because 2 years after this, she does Crash, where she plays that racist white lady. And I know people hate on Crash.
I think that's a better fit for her, though. Like, that's a better, darker version for her than something like this. Like, I was even thinking, okay, if I could remake this movie, I think it would turn out to be Destroyer, the Karn Kusama film.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole Kidman is someone who's got her finger in every genre and can do all of it.
Yeah.
And that's just it, right? Like, because we normally think we can usually rely on her to give us some kind of poppy, fresh face thing, but then she also does some of this darker, like really dark shit pretty darn good.
Yeah, but I feel like that's always been Nicole Kidman's raison d'etre. Like Sandra Bullock, like, she was even though she was in darker movies, she was never that type of character. And it sucks because I would love to see her play those type of roles more often, because I know she can, but I feel much like Reese Witherspoon being like, I'm not going to do freeway roles anymore, much less talk about them because no one wants to see me in those roles. And I'm like, but there is an untapped audience out there that does want to see you in those roles.
And Freeway has a very devoted cult audience.
Oh boy, does it ever.
Well, now it does, but like pre-2018?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a you know, on the one hand, it was a huge flop, but also on the other hand, nobody knew who she was then. Like, that was like one of her first movies.
Well, but even with this one, I'm going to be like, you don't think Big Little Lies is dark material? But again, she's not playing... That's probably the most reprehensible person she's played, like, in modern times.
But she's still got that sunny exterior.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Although, I will say, in the morning show, her brother just played a Trump MAGA supporter, and she gets footage of him at the January 6th insurrection and chooses to erase it for the FBI.
Ooh.
That show is
a fucking mess.
It's such a mess, but it's so fun to watch.
But here's the thing, right? Is it's memorable because it's messy, as opposed to Murder by Numbers, where we all just kind of shrug our shoulders and go,
It's too classy. It's too classy.
Yeah, needed to get its fingers dirty.
Well, no, I don't think it is too classy. I think it wants to be too classy, and it's not.
It doesn't know what it wants to be. And I feel like we have confronted this a couple times, most importantly with the Quiet.
Yeah.
Where that film desperately wants you to think it is one thing, but then is not quite sure and tries to be a lot of different things all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, it's a more delightful mess.
Yes.
And it makes it a bit more memorable. And I think why some people want to get behind it a little bit more, because it brings that unsolicited laughter and has that element of camp to it that this just doesn't have.
Like, imagine Michael Pitt and Ryan Gosling talking about masturbation milkshakes in this movie. All of a sudden, it's up a full star, right?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Listen, we've talked enough about shower sex being... It dries everything out.
It sure does.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Look sexy, not sexy to do.
Leave it to porn.
Yeah, they're professionals at least.
That is fantasy. I'm sorry, everyone. It just dries everything out. It's not a fun time.
But all right. Well, so
I think we're done.
Once Patrick starts talking about drying things out, that's when you can wrap it up.
Well, okay. So, does anyone have any final thoughts on this movie, or have we gotten it all out?
Listen, it's fine. It's absolutely, perfectly acceptable Saturday afternoon. Hey, Murder by Numbers. I was about to call Murder, She Wrote. Murder by Numbers is on, and then you kind of have it on while you're doing the housework. It's not a badly made movie.
It's competently made.
Right, it's competently made. Like I said, Ryan Gosling's having a good time. Sandra Bullock is perfectly fine. Michael Pitt plays a believable little creep.
Agnes Bruckner is there.
Yeah, Ben Chaplin is terrible, but his character is ultimately so inconsequential to the plot.
But he knows it. At least we know that he knows it.
It doesn't really take away much. The only time that affects is like in the scenes of them, just the two of them together, where it's just like, please, can we get to the next part? But it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
and it's got a baboon sequence that we barely talked about.
It's got a baboon that comes out of fucking nowhere.
Like,
it's a real dime a dozen cop movie trope that you have a random baboon come in, bite somebody, and they're like, 2 days later, I gotta get out of the hospital. Like I would be in the hospital for fucking weeks of
everybody's like, that's weird, and then we don't mention it again.
Wait. Remake this movie, only it's a Joe Exotica. Like a tiger No.
Or the baboon's the killer the whole time.
Right. You make this a
I was
murder of
gonna
the
say
Rue
that
Morgue.
you would
And,
put Mike Flanagan on that shit.
and Gosling is seducing a baboon and saying, we could work together and we could change society. We could disrupt things,
I'm your
baboon.
only friend,
Wait, is he
baboon.
fucking the baboon, though?
Is he fucking Pitt in this?
He's
We don't
looking
know.
very seductively at the baboon, but
There we go.
occasionally grabbing him by the throat in a very fetishy
There's a lot of throat grabs.
Oh my god. Before I officially close this out, do you ever think there was a point in either a script meeting, I guess it wasn't a pitch meeting because they had the script already, in any kind of planning scene where someone was like, what the fuck is up with this baboon sequence?
Yeah, like, was that in the script, or but in the original script, or did somebody say, you know, we really need to shake things up a bit? An animal attack scene. It's like, okay, should we have like a dog or something? No. I'm thinking bigger.
My cousin Diana, she's got a baboon. I can get it for cheap.
I love it. Do it.
Oh, that's good because we've got $25 million worth of tacos coming from Austin.
We'll feed us some barbecue chicken. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that Veronica sequence where they're riding horses, and you're like, why are they riding horses? Because he's got a coupon for horses. Yeah, he's gonna fucking use a coupon.
I got a free baboon coupon, y'all. You want to put
I got a great deal. I got a great deal on baboons from Groupon.
Jimmy, my ape guy's got a baboon who he says is magnetic on camera.
It'll show you its ass for free.
Wait till you see this ape's ass.
You won't see anybody else's asses, but you'll see that baboon's ass.
It's going to be so fun picking the subtitle for this episode. We have so many options. Okay, well, before we announce what we're covering next week, Patrick and Gena, first of all, thank you again for, I think 4 times might be our record for guest show.
Oh, I love that.
I think so.
I think so. Thank you both for coming on to talk about this. Let us and our listeners know, where can people find you on social media?
I write about movies and television at thespool.net. I have a Substack, GenaWatchesThings.substack.com, and Joe and I work together on a little project called White Ladies in Crisis, in which we talk about movies in which ladies lose their marbles. You can find us on... you can look for us there. We do that. Right now that's a monthly. We were doing weekly when we were covering the TV series Physical. Now we're back to month basis.
And Gina and I co-host Kill by Kill, where we talk about horror movie characters. And that Against Our Better Judgment comes out weekly.
I'm sorry, your delivery of characters there was
sometimes it's a very, very generous description to call them characters.
Well, I think that's the hook. Honestly, there's a reason why people don't talk about horror movie characters, because they are paper thin. They're paper people.
Yeah.
And we try to make sense of them all in the order in which they die. We've just started season 5 on the show, where we are talking about the Evil Dead franchise and vampires. So we're talking about those are 2 franchises, and then we pick goofy things in between. We talk about music videos that kill people's careers, stuff like that.
Gina and Joe, I do want to say, so for your podcast, in my head, I know it's White Ladies in Crisis, but every time in my head, I'm like, I call it White Women in Trouble.
Close
and
enough.
I was like,
it's the same thing.
Same diff.
Well, so my husband and I rewatched Scary Movie last weekend for Halloween, and there's the part they're ripping off Scream where she's doing like the computer call to the 911.
Oh yes.
But her emergency is White Woman in Trouble. And then it cut to the cops pulling up, and you can hear on the radio like, "Oh, we got a white woman in trouble."
It's a classic that never goes out of style.
Okay, but if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. Go to our YouTube channel to watch our Chucky reviews, which just finished a couple weeks ago. It's season 3, part 1.
Yeah,
We'll get the next
3A.
3A, yeah, we'll call it 3A. We'll get it again next year. Who knows when? And also tune in once a month to hear about our most anticipated horror films for that month. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Facebook Horror Queers group. Go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We have a recent 1-star review that comes down on me that I would love to get buried, so please bury that shit. And if you want even more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. Horror Queers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 271 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hell House LLC Origins, The Carmichael Manor, Birth, Rebirth, The Fall of the House of Usher, Five Nights at Freddy's, Thanksgiving, and our audio commentary for the month on the original 1988 classic Child's Play.
Yeah, our boy's turning 35.
Yes, but Joe, even though next week is not the last week of November, it is our concluding week of toxic masculinity.
This is true. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about this today and I was like, if people want more, go back and listen to that App Pupil episode because that's all about toxic masculinity for sure.
Yikes.
It is a full-on yikes,
Yeah,
Gena.
that's a
correct.
super yike.
Gena, I would recommend, so you listen to that episode and then you follow it up by listening to last week's episode on Dead Girl.
Oy.
Yeah. It's sexual assault for the ages.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're not done with that topic because we are going to close out this theme by talking about... this is going to be interesting because, of course, one of the actors has transitioned, so it's going to change some of the framing, but we are talking about a sexual predator as we close out toxic masculinity with hard candy.
Man, you are, this is a breath of fresh air compared to
Yeah, this is fun time for y'all.
And what's we don't have a guest on next week, so it's just me and Joe talking about pedophilia.
Drilling in on ice
Did
and
you guys,
balls.
reach out to people who are like, no, I don't want to talk about that movie?
No, I think honestly, because we try to leave one or two every 2 months to be like, let's have one with just us. And
This was it.
this was it.
I mean, Hard Candy is actually a pretty beloved film,
Oh, it's
so
great.
I
No,
think we could have
it's a
found a
great
guest pretty
movie. It's
easily.
just heavy as hell.
Yeah.
It's just a hard watch.
We're gonna
Yes,
have
it's very
so
well done.
much fun, question mark, talking about Hard Candy.
Enjoy?
Yes. It's a lot of raised affectations at the end of questions.
Basically. But yeah, until then, we can cross out murder by number. Wait, I don't know how it goes.
It's murder by numbers.
It's as easy to run as
Oh, boy.
I'm not a singer, by
boy,
nature.
boy.
Please leave that in.
Joe, finish it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I've got to cross out horror queers.
Atlas Avenue, a long stretch of road that encompasses everything the city of Kennett Heights has to offer. Neon lights, traffic, crime, the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and the craziest of characters. My office was above it all. My name is James Locke, and I'm a PI.
Hello, Mr. J. How the hell you doing today?
Good, Edith. Nearly every year I have a new case. New people to meet, new clues to discover, and new problems to solve. But I do it the old-fashioned way. No technology. Nothing post-1950. Hell, I don't even listen to podcasts, but you should. Atlas Avenue Beat is a spoof of the film noir genre with goofy characters, tons of wordplay, and non-stop raunchy humor. There's also 3 whole seasons out right now with more on the way. Just search for Atlas Avenue Beat wherever you listen to podcasts or visit us online at bloody.fm.